Egypt?
Why don't people in movies ever listen to warnings?
And why did my dad yell, "What's in the box? What's in the box?"
All these questions are answered and more on a brand new Gory Story Time. Warning. Gory Story Time is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Story Time. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig, and this is the show where we review horror movies. And for those who watch the show regularly, you know that we like to do blocks of 4 related movies. Not every time, but this time for Halloween month, we decided to do something we hadn't done, considering Frankenstein has been behind us for a long time, and do the classic Universal monsters.
Or at least most of them.
Yeah, I mean, we did 4 of the 4
7?
biggest, I would say.
Yeah.
I'd say the 4 are the biggest. We didn't do Invisible Man. We didn't do The
Bride
Creature
of
from the Black
Frankenstein.
Lagoon. We didn't, which I don't know if that was actually Universal, but we didn't do the classic,
Swamp Thing.
all of them. But we did the 4 main classic Universal. Anyway, for those who don't know anything about the original Mummy, the basic premise is some scientists and people go to Egypt and they find a box on an archaeological dig that has a warning that says, whatever you do, don't open this or you'll basically be cursed and die. So
And
they did what
happens?
every smart person in a movie does. They said,
left the
well, then
box
we
alone,
must
right?
open it.
Oh. That's step 1 to getting yourself killed.
And then apparently the Clinton body count began.
In the 30s? Yeah, probably.
They had parents. Listen.
I know nothing about them, and they are outstanding and people.
Yeah. Wasn't making this all political. That was just meant to be an offhanded joke.
Yes, but I'm keeping myself safe.
Listen. All I'm saying is there are parallels. People start dying suspiciously. People
One
doubt,
of them rose from the dead.
People doubt that people are actually killed by the way that they were killed at first because they were like, no, that doesn't seem likely.
Right. Okay.
So there's connections.
So, yeah.
Anyway, it's a
trailer,
prequel.
right?
And yeah, for people that haven't seen the trailer, here we go. That was
one hell of a trailer.
So
It
now
gave
let's
away
try this
nothing?
again. Colin, don't fuck it up.
We said not to. Okay.
Death, eternal punishment for anyone who opens this casket.
The mummy. Is it dead or alive? Human or inhuman? You'll know. You'll see. You'll feel the awful, creeping, crawling terror that stands your hair on end and brings a scream to your lips. There's nothing on earth like the mummy.
You will not remember what I show you now, and yet I shall awaken memories of love and crime
Now I know his horrible plan. He's going to kill her and make her a living mummy like himself.
So now that you've seen the movie, you can listen to us react to it.
Sure. And for those who got offended by the F-bomb right before the trailer played the second time,
I don't care.
yeah, like we do that sometimes. Anyway, before we get into the behind-the-scenes information, and there's a ton of words, let's give a shout out to our actual sponsors that help us pay for doing the show, because these exist, etc. If you've seen the show before, you know the fake preamble.
Fake?
I mean, real.
Where do you think I got all of this money?
This week, Gory Story Time is brought to you by Monster Vape Juice. It's the same as every other flavored vape juice, but with a monster theme, with such flavors as Frankenstein Frankincense, Dracula's Blood Orange, Wolfman's Full Moon Pie, and the Invisible Man's Clear Cola. That's Monster Vape Juice, available wherever vape products are sold to hipster assholes.
That's for you. And by Anubis Condoms. Protect yourself from diseases, new and ancient, with Anubis Condoms. It's 2019. We understand. We understand you a bunch of pussies.
It's supposed to say you're.
It works. So, give your junk a safe space with Anubis Condoms. Whether your penis identifies as a male penis or a female penis, wrap that rascal so you don't become a mummy or a daddy. Anubis Condoms is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any curse.
All right. Now, let's get into the behind-the-scenes meat and beef of the situation.
So I'm going to go first, yeah. Throughout the film's production, there was great tension between Zita Johann and director Carl Carl, who disliked each other immensely. According to Johann, on the first day of filming, Carl attempted to portray her to the producers as a temperamental actress who was very hard to work with.
Zita Johann later recalled her nastiness to her. He made my life very unpleasant. It was his first picture as a director, and he felt he needed a scapegoat in case he didn't come in on schedule. 23 days, I believe. Well, I was cast as the scapegoat, and I saw right through it right away. Before shooting started, I asked Freund and his wife over for dinner. He told me for one scene I would have to appear nude from the waist up. He expected me to say, "The hell I will." Instead, I said, "Well, it's all right with me if you can get it past the censors," knowing very well that the censors at the time were strict. So I had him there. The veracity of such a statement was put into question when one considers that the Hays Code wasn't enforced until June of '34, when Breen came in charge of said production code. Until then, actresses regularly appeared topless in movies, and the year was 1932. It's unclear who reported this tidbit, but pseudo-biographers, in particular those of Boris Films, have been debunked as crafting tall tales for book sales. It would appear that quite possibly some of them may never even interviewed said stars, who are long deceased, to corroborate or deny either way.
Okay.
There's a lot here, so
yes,
don't
Boris
take your time.
Karloff's mummy makeup is based on the appearance of Ramses III. Makeup artist Jack P. Pierce spent 8 hours a day applying Karloff's makeup. This waste of time and resources is incomprehensible, since a wooden dummy was clearly used in the close-ups. See his clogged nostrils. And Karloff in bandages was only used in the take where he opens his eyes. Accordingly, this was completely unnecessary and thought to be Karloff's demand, as he was never shown walking or even standing in full mummy bandages.
The film's poster holds the record for the most money paid for a movie poster at auction, more than $453,500. It's awful specific to say more than
Yeah.
without being the exact answer. Go ahead.
Ardath Bey, the name of Imhotep, assumes after his exhumation, is an anagram for death by Ra. Ra is the Egyptian sun god. In the remake starring Brendan Fraser, Ardath Bey was played by Oded Fair, who was the leader of Medja, the protectors of the realm.
The discovery of Pharaoh Tutankhamun's tomb was alleged to have a curse on it that inspired Universal to make this film. In fact, when Howard Carter, funded by Lord Carnarvon, opened the sarcophagus of King Tut in 25, screenwriter John Balderston was present as a reporter for New York World.
Boris Karloff was virtually unknown when he appeared as the creature in Frankenstein. He created such a sensation that when this was made, only a year later, Universal only had to advertise Karloff, the mummy.
Several scenes meant to depict various reincarnated lives throughout history were filmed but cut in the final version. The scenes depicted Ankin something or other in ancient Rome, in the European Middle Ages among Viking raiders, and in France in the ancient regime, whatever that is.
Okay.
You screwed that up.
I did. A lengthy and complicated reincarnation scene, so important to the plot, never made it into the film. This upset many people, including the film's leading actress, Zita Johann, who was a firm believer in reincarnation.
Unlike the other Universal classic monsters, the other mummy movies have no direct relation to this one. The other feature films have a very different mummy named Karis, who's resurrected by Tana and leaves to be controlled by a modern person, similar to a voodoo zombie. The Mummy's Hand uses footage from this film but changes Imhotep to Karis. It was Karis who would appear in other Universal films and Hammer remakes. Imhotep wouldn't reappear in theaters until the Mummy remake in 1999.
Jack P. Pierce's makeup was considered so outstanding that Hollywood Filmograph Journal honored him with a special award, which was presented at a ceremony by Boris Karloff himself. After Pierce's death in '68, the trophy was believed lost. Many years later, when a sink was removed from an old makeup studio at Universal, it was rediscovered.
So many layers of cotton were glued to Boris Karloff's face to create the wrinkled visage of Imhotep. As a mummy, he was unable to move his facial muscles enough to even speak. When he submitted to such drastic bonding makeup, why he did it is incomprehensible. Again, a wooden dummy was clearly used in the close-ups, and Karloff was only used in the take where he opens his eyes. So this is basically the same thing you already read, so we didn't need to read it again. Continue.
Okay. When Zita Johann declined to have her option picked up by Universal because of the unpleasantness during filming, her billing was demoted from co-star to the top of the supporting players.
The main theme music in the opening credits is the exact same part of Swan Lake used to open Dracula a year earlier.
Boris Karloff to makeup artist Jack P. Pierce, well, you've done a wonderful job, but you forgot to give me a fly.
He had to pee.
I see.
Yeah. Screenwriter John Balderston is credited with the Egyptian mummy theme for the film. In its early stages, it was envisioned as a horror vehicle for Boris Karloff with no connection to Egypt at all. Balderston was a history enthusiast and covered the opening of King Tut's tomb. His experience in Egypt and love of ancient history influenced him enough to change the setting and the plot of the film to feature an Egyptian mummy, because that makes more sense than any other mummy that didn't actually exist as a thing.
Right. This is the only Universal monster of the time without a fictional antecedent. Large segments of the movie are scene-by-scene
Fictional
parallels.
antecedent.
Okay. Parallels of Dracula. An Ankh symbol, okay, the ancient Egyptian glyph for life, is substituted for the crucifix of the earlier movie. Even Edward Van Sloan's character, Dr. Muller, is quite analogous to his Dr. Van Helsing from the vampire film.
Henry Victor appears in the credits in the film as Saxon warrior, yet he never actually appears in the movie. Saxon warrior was part of a long flashback sequence showing the heroine's past lives from ancient Egypt to the present. The sequence was cut.
Ziti Johann believed in the art of the occult, reincarnation, and the ability to communicate with the dead, many practices of which appear in the film.
The ring Boris Karloff used was long to believe in the possession of Forrest Ackerman for many decades. However, it was debunked in September of 2017 by Irene D., whoever that is, who uploaded a video showing both rings in extreme close-up. Forrest was a lot smaller, had too many discrepancies that in no way matched Karloff's original. Incomprehensibly, a fan paid 5 figures for Ackerman's counterfeit movie prop.
It's funny that there's a Henry Victor that was credited,
Yeah.
and yeah, the percentage that people gave it,
Well, what do the critics say that this movie is?
they give it 100%.
The people gave it 64% because the critics are like, we have to give this classic movie 100%. Why would we ever say anything bad about it? Oh, don't worry. We have things to say. And we're critics-ish, sort of.
Yes, we are critics of the people. It's true. We critique people.
Yeah, but that's private. That has nothing to do with... That's just...
That's
That's
the next
silent judgment.
That's the next show.
Okay, that's not silent.
Yeah, not at all. Okay. So
What was your favorite scene?
I don't have a favorite scene. I have a favorite thing,
What's
kind
that?
of, which is, depending on how accurate you are, the mummy-inspired zombies, which I do believe somewhat, then that's my favorite thing, because zombies are really cool.
Well, what I'll say is, again, one of the facts
I
we gave
know.
with Night of the Living Dead was it was originally going to be Night of Anubis, referencing the same god that was referenced in this movie, Anubis, because when I said it, I was like,
Yes,
see, I
yes.
told you.
Right.
And Anubis, basically, zombies were an American bastardization of mummies, which is ironic considering this was an American bastardization of Egyptian mummies. So it's an American bastardization of an American bastardization. It's bastardization squared.
Yes. Okay.
Eh.
What was your favorite?
My favorite scene,
I'm on the same page.
yeah, I mean, honestly, this movie was really dull and boring.
It
And I don't
really
want to make the
was.
same joke, oh, my favorite part was when it stopped playing, because I've done it before multiple times. But honestly, I don't really have a favorite scene. I don't have a favorite thing. I thought this movie both
kinda
sucked and
dumb.
blew.
Yeah.
What was your least favorite scene?
I mean, probably his awkward mentalism. Because,
It looked so hokey.
well, I'm not
I
gonna...
point my ring at you
I'm
like
not gonna,
Green Lantern
well,
and
I'm not
stuff.
gonna take it away from them because of the hokiness, because the other movies had hokey things.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. Because he's a guy. He's just a dude. What's so special about just a dude?
Well, he was a king. And
He was a king. That
Egyptians
doesn't
believed
matter.
that the kings had special powers and such.
Okay.
That's why they
and-
got pyramids dedicated to them.
Well, yes,
But I'm just saying,
but it didn't make any sense.
I'm going to say my least favorite thing is that they consider this a classic monster. Because like some other ones, like The Hunchback of Notre Dame, where it's like, yeah, but he's not even a monster. He had a physical issue that
Deformity,
people
right.
mocked him for, and that makes him the monster. It's
Or
like Frankenstein's
Frankenstein.
monster, like the creature, he did nothing. The monster was that asshole with the lightning that brought him back to life and was like, now do what I say or I shall beat you. It's like, hey.
Well, no, he didn't even say
he's
anything.
like,
He just started whipping
hey,
him
a-hole,
for being
I
alive.
was dead.
Yeah.
Like, you could have just so I guess it's just,
But, like, at least those guys are cool.
this just, it's
Like,
so.
the creature in Frankenstein, he was cool. Not
I
necessarily relatable,
usually
but-
complain if he's staring at his phone when we're watching one of these movies. I was on my phone because it was just so dull, I couldn't not look down. I would way rather crush a candy than watch this damn movie.
Yeah, We had it for most of the movie. We
And
actually had
Angry a
it.
Bird. What?
Well, for most of the movie, we actually had it, and I don't think you realized, on 1.5 speed, which made it actually go faster, and it still dragged.
That says something. That says something.
It really does.
Especially since it wasn't noticeable.
Right.
Ouch.
Right.
I didn't realize that.
And I didn't stop it because I was like, well, this will just get done with quicker.
Yeah. Anyway, so on a scale of 1 to 10, I bet you can't see where this is going.
Let's see, I'm going to have to give it a 3. And that's really lenient because I really like zombies.
And you're giving it a boost for having inspired it?
2 points of boost.
I'm going to give it a 2 because
Because you don't like zombies as much as I do.
that's an hour and 15 minutes of my life that's gone.
Again, this isn't the first time you've seen it.
I know, but it was the first time even as a kid, I was somehow able to pay attention. And this time I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, she's supposed to be the hot chick. Why doesn't she have boobs? Like, I get that they weren't going to show them, but why? Why? The hot chick is never the chick with no boobs.
That's true.
The chick with the negative D cup, like, she lays on her back and makes puddles in the rain. Like, they're indents. Like, they were small.
That's terrible.
They were pathetic.
This poor dead woman that you're just roasting. Reasonably so, but like...
I mean, come on. Like,
So...
eek. Anyway, so...
I do not recommend watching this movie, and I also don't recommend watching the 1999 remake. I haven't seen the 2017 remake,
But I've heard it was awful.
but it's also probably really, really bad. So basically, Universal has dug themselves into a hole
But
of
thanks
don't
to
like
the
the
Mummy
mummy.
remake, The Rock became a movie star, because that was his first really acting gig, was playing the Scorpion King, which got its own series that shouldn't have happened.
I know.
But because of that, they got him in other stuff that isn't bad. And a bunch of stuff that is.
He's like the wrestler equivalent of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, the stuff that's good is really good, and then there's
Stuff
all
that
of the other
isn't
stuff.
is just so bad.
All right, let's give out our socials and infos
So
and
on
stuff.
that
I
side
believe
of
it's
the
on.
screen,
Yeah, that
yes. You can watch this show, Fact TV, on Fact TV Channel 8, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can email us at gorystorytime@yahoo.com, which I can't log into, so I can't read a fucking thing if you do.
But you can tweet at us.
Yes.
Because I'm at Jason T. Jakes, capital J, capital T, capital J.
I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
You can like us on Facebook.
You can check out my YouTube channel, Juggalo Jakes, all one word.
You can like Fact TV on Facebook.
And you can find Fact TV stuff on YouTube too.
Yep, and you can go to their website, fact8.com, and watch a bunch of back episodes so you can see movies that we actually liked.
And here's a bonus that I've never said before, but if you hate pumpkin spice, this is the right time of the year for it. I have a Facebook page with memes that I make that are just anti-pumpkin spice called Puck Fumpkin. Please like and share any of those memes.
Yeah, little plug for something not even close to related
But
to
it's
this
Halloween
show.
related.
Well, sure, let's go. So until next time, hopefully with a better movie,
Definitely with a better movie.
I'm your host, Jason,
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig,
and sweet dreams.